LF Dawn, Lottery Phenom. What's good? Tune on in. Make sure y'all hit that share button down below. Hit that share button right down there. Get this video out to everybody. Now, with that being said, I'm Lottery Phenom, the number one in lottery. All I do was, for the last 6 years, teach everybody the methods of the lottery. And the method meaning the exact way to win. Now, when dealing with triples, understand this, it's usually a one-stop shop. Usually it's very visible. It's very on schedule. When it comes to a regular hit, like a regular 259, 198, a regular hit, it's different measurements that take a part on that because it can go by way of frequency, one up, one down. It can go by way of CVM. It can go by way of certain different grids that can bring out this digit to fall. So with that being said, by understanding how a number come about is half the battle of knowing which number you need to go with. So for instance, over all these years that I've been doing it, from the point where I was doing it in 2018 to the point where I am now, I understand the key structures. The structure is the sauce needed to win on a consistent basis. If you got the right structure, you're going to get the exact equation that's going to drop. So what I mean, I have 5 books. Right now you get 4 books for $125 is on discount right now. $ Lottery Phenom is the Cash App. PayPal, put thebusinessgroup@gmail.com. That is my email address, thebusinessgroup@gmail.com. You'll find that on my post as well. That is the Cash App. So again, I don't do these type of deals every day. It's every blue moon you'll get a huge discount like that. Now, with that being said, I'm still pledging 1,000 books to everybody in Jackson, Mississippi, dealing with that situation out there. Make sure you inbox me if you're from Jackson, Mississippi. Everybody else from Mississippi, make sure you inbox me so you can get your deal right here as well. Structure. So, like, for example, 4 books. This 4-book thing gives you 4 different structures you should use. With that being said, when you're using a book 1 or book 2 method, then you know that it's not much structure you need to pull from those books. It's more about what a digit represents. When you get to that book 3, 4, and 5, it's more about structure because you already got the digital part, meaning the digits that you're seeing, like 0, 1, 2 series, 4, 6, 8, all even wave, 1, 5, 9, all odd wave. You got the digital part taken care of, knowing everything of the ins and outs of what it looks like digitally. With your book 1, your book 2, run mate double, what a run mate is, so forth and so forth. When you get more so into those book 3s, 4s, and 5s, it's all about that structure. Now, you still get the discount, all 5 books for $250 right now. The biggest discount. Really, all you're doing is taking care of book 5. You're getting book 1 through 4 for free. So again, the book 5 discount for $250 is the way to go. Now, in general, with that being said, we're going to go over Florida Trip 6. By understanding the situation, we understand that it's obvious. It's too easy. But the fact that it's too easy is because all the work that we put in beforehand that made it so easy to identify it. So I had conversations with group leaders before. Had a good conversation with a group leader day for yesterday. And what I've realized, what I've always known, is not only do specific group leaders, but majority of the group leaders really do depend on my videos and my live streams. Because like everyone else, they literally can tell I'm telling the truth. And when I go over any X marks the spot, when I go over any draw, and I say funny that matches up perfectly, or damn, that is exactly to what they got and why they got it. Knowing that that's the exact equation, meaning I know that's why they know they can use it because it works perfectly. Going back to that point that I made when I go back and forth with different group leaders, they're grown adults. I've been doing these videos for 5, 6 years straight. You think that if the stuff didn't add up, they can easily say, I got you right there. It don't add up. I got you right there. It don't add up. As if they're not even looking. You know, so you know they're looking, and you know they're just wanting to find a lie, because I get the most in lottery. I do the most. And they say, well, you know what? I still can't find a way to stop him. I still can't find something to complain about with him. So that's, of course, letting me know that I can use it. So I'm on the phone having a conversation with group leaders that's telling me about other group leaders and what other group leaders told them, because they think me and this individual don't like each other. For the most part, what it was 2 years ago, a year ago. So I had a conversation. They're like, yeah, the group leader you keep beefing with or talking about, that group leader, that group leader, that group leader. Yo, they behind the scenes using your stuff. They're telling me they're using your stuff, and they're making money off your stuff. And I'm like, damn. Well, don't you think I've figured that out already, or don't you think I already got a whiff of that? You're supposed to be helping me, you being a group leader, to identify that I really am telling the truth out here. Everybody that is somebody is using this guy's work and will not let people know they're truly using his work. So when group leaders be buddy and they tell all the business, why they don't come tell me, y'all? Why those group leaders won't come tell me they're using that stuff? Oh man, I'm making plenty of money off this book information, but I'm not telling you. That goes to show you no good deed goes unpunished. You up here providing a way for everybody to eat off of your algorithm, whole time that these group leaders trying to eat off of it without letting you know they're eating off of it. Meaning we'll go and diss you and not come back and tell you we're using your stuff, but we'll be on live stream dissing you about your stuff. That's the cold part. They want to make sure no income gets counted for me while using my stuff behind the scenes. That is the most cruel thing I ever heard. And I'm like, I already figured they used it behind the scenes. But to sit here and still beef with me while using it is cold. And that's what's going on. So you got to understand that ups my ego. That ups my resume when I talk my talk. I got my resume behind me because I know what they're doing. So while they get told on and it comes to the light, that ain't do nothing but verify that I knew that they were using my stuff. You know, understand this. They told me the group leaders' names that's using it behind the scenes. And 9 out of 10 is usually who I speak about all the times. Now, again, with that being said, the reason why I am the way I am with this accuracy of this knowledge, because I built something that is truly the thing to use only. And everybody in the world sees that. So the unjust part or the unfair part to me providing for y'all, I got to provide for the people that hating on me. And by me providing for them as well, they get to benefit and use it and eat off of it, while still trying to diminish my character. Ain't that a effed up situation? But that's heavy as the head that wears the crown. Let's continue. We're going to go over Florida Trip 6. Shout out to the South. The South should be resetting now. Texas has already got out of the way, I believe. I believe Tennessee is due to be out of the way, or they might have already got it. I'm not sure. I think Tennessee is due to get out of the way. So then we're looking at mighty Georgia and the mighty Mississippi and the letters with the M. You know, they're going to get on out the way. So then everybody waiting in South Carolina could go and get their just due. I just hate for the Mississippi and Missouri to get it before Georgia and South Carolina, because the statistics is Georgia, South Carolina, then you going on to the Mississippi and Missouri. So if you understand, last year when I called it out, it was Mississippi and Missouri still in the show before Georgia, South Carolina, so forth and so forth. We don't want a replay of that is what I'm trying to request. I don't want Missouri and Mississippi going ahead and get it before Georgia, because then that means they just changing the pendulum to being the states with the M going first, and then Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, so forth and so forth. So again, typically, it's always big bad Georgia starting it out for the South after Texas, Tennessee. That's how it's been for the last 4 years up to 6 years. Last year made it the 5th year where Missouri, Mississippi stole it before Georgia. So then with that being said, everything is on accordance to how it's supposed to be. So again, we have no say-so when they hit the button to say, okay, let's release it in the state. But we know the schedule and how the schedule goes about. So again, I primarily make this for the people that play in-store. I didn't make the books with the assumption that only people online is going to be playing and they can play anywhere they want. The advantage is you don't have to wait 30 days, 90 days for another triple in your state if you can go online and play your triple and your quad anywhere you like. That's the only advantage, but for the most part, I make it for the people that can go into the store, like in Florida, and see what they should be doing. So again, that's why it's always on point, always exact, because once you get ready to use my method, the day that you get ready to use it, the day that it absolutely worked for you, that's a good day. Kind of understand? So let's dive deep into it. Florida had trip 6, and again, trip 6 is usually an obvious triple like usual. The only difference is, how a regular number hits. So put it this way. When you think about this, y'all, we're going over regular numbers 32 times. Just so the 33rd could be the triple. We're only going about the triple once. But from 32 draws back from the triple, we're going over regular numbers that many times. So with that being said, we have to know more about regular numbers than we do trips. Because for us to get a trip, it required regular numbers. A build-up of regular numbers. A certain feng shui of regular numbers. So when the whole hour live stream is all about the 33rd to the second draw back, just to see it be a triple flawlessly, that lets you know everything you need to know about how lottery is constructed. It's made up of a lot of little hits that warrant the bigger hit to show up and show out. So again, when you get it, you get it. But at the end of the day, everything is on an even playing field. The triple or a regular number, it's on an equal playing field when you understand you can hit $500 off of a regular number. You can hit $500 off of a triple. So forth and so forth. So again, shout out to the people that understand what I'm getting at and what I do. So when you use your by 2 by 3 grid, that gives you structure. That gives you a heading. That alerts you that instead of using a pick 3 number that they gave you for that draw, you can use the secondary number to that pick 3 number and it be equally just as valid. So if you got 1, 2, 3, and in the secondary you got 7, 2, 5, that 7, 2, 5 is just as valid as 1, 2, 3 being right there for you to use. By understanding that, you understand the process of you can't have one without the other. So half of your hits is because of the process of you can't have one without the other. So while you're focusing only on 1, 2, 3, and this is for the people that do everything opposite of what Lottery Phenom suggests, when you're doing some raggedy grid that you do that ain't got nothing to do with structure of the by 2 by 3, it's all over the place. You're only using 1, 2, 3 and thinking the hit got to get pulled out of only the 1, 2, 3. When you use my method, my ways, my strategies, you're not only using 1, 2, 3, but you're making great use of 7, 2, 5. And on top of that, you're making great use of the ether numbers. And on top of that, understanding that everything is a system in the unknown, like the known is a system. What I'm saying here, for people who don't understand me and don't like what I do, if you're saying, well, I understand from one draw to the next draw, I understand it in the way I only understand it. That still does not negate that it is a system to be understood. So you'll say, well, those last 4 draws, the way I understand those last 4 draws has nothing to do with lottery phenom methods. That does not negate that you don't see a constant pattern of a particular structure. So with your randomizing, thinking it's random, you're not holding on to any other reference point other than what you saw from what they gave you. Your reference point holds your structure together. So if you say 1, 2, 3 series fell, you're not telling yourself 7, 2, 5 fell. You're not telling yourself a 1 digit apart fell. And you damn sure not telling yourself 8, 8, 8 fell. But then, well, where did 8, 8, 8 fall? In the ether of 1, 2, 3. Did you just hit 3 and 4 schematics you just missed out on because you're doing some other type of grid that got nothing to do with nothing factual, and you only kept it as a result of only 1, 2, 3? Damn, you couldn't use 7, 2, 5. Damn, you couldn't use the ether number 8, 8, 8. You couldn't use any frequency from this draw. You couldn't use an auto correction. You couldn't use a V theory. You couldn't use none of these 5 other arsenals, tools to use, other than your own way of doing your tic-tac-toe grid 1, 2, 3. Here, somebody's championing you and rallying you to please use the method that we obviously see works. Obviously. You don't have to buy it to see that it works. So that's to say, well, even if I do, I won't come back and tell him I do be using it. Even if I do, I won't let him know that I hit good off of his system. Even if I do, I won't go tell my neighbors to check into lottery phenom information. So when you understand this, then you understand what I'm saying. Somebody got the remedy, the pill for your illness, and you keep it a secret amongst everyone. That ain't fair to the person that invented the remedy. But it is what it is. All I ask is you hit the share button so everybody can see it. Florida, trip 6. Y'all know my saying. We start with the 33rd drawback. X marks the spot. The 30th drawback. X marks the spot. The 29th drawback. X marks the spot. Those are the 3 X marks the spot for the last 5 draws. Then we start with the 5th drawback and 4th drawback. These are the last X marks the spot for the front 5 draws. Remember, 5 draws is a cluster. And you know what I say by 5 draw cluster. 5 draw cluster is only 1 draw. So with that being understood, everything is on a strict pattern if you're deciphering it within 5 draws. So again, when out of 5 draws you're getting references for a triple 3 times, then you only got 2 draws that are oddball. Kind of find out those 2 oddball draws are in sync with their 5 draw cluster going forward, or their ratio going forward. So by the time you get to that understanding, you say, well, damn, those oddball draws, that it was 2 of them that didn't say the triple, was still in sync for the future draws ahead that correlate with the triple. So for those 2 draws that was oddball, had a 5 draw forward or a ratio forward, identify that that ratio is picture perfect for your triple. That means that where the ratio in triple is the ratio format, and where that oddball draw at is relevant to your ratio number. So then you'll get it. Can't have one without the other. So those 2 oddball draws is still related to the triple. You just don't know how, because you don't have the blueprint to find out how. Once you find out how, now it ain't just 3 draws that match in the triple perfectly. It's all 5 of them. Now it's not all 5 draws. Now it's all 32 draws matching the triple perfectly. So then you get everything has its placement for why it fell. Since we know everything have its placements, guess what we do? We tie it into why the trip 6 failed. Then it all becomes plain as day. They hide it in plain sight. If you ain't got the bifocals on to understand and read the number, then you are the lick. If you can't read what the lick read, then you are the lick. So then you understand it's all about reading the lick, understanding the process and what you see in that state. It ain't about a favorite group leader. It ain't about a favorite tic-tac-toe technically. It's about being able to read the lick, what they getting at, what they stand away from, and why. But let's continue. So with that being said, I got to start it out flawlessly. 33 drawback, 199. X marks the spot. Exact act up. That's like half the battle when you start out and it's already flawless. So with that being said, where did 199 act up at? The 9th drawback. With that being said, that means that it's an exact act up, right? That means it is the hottest thing to bring out a triple in the act up format. Remember, 1 digit apart is series. 2 digit apart is all even wave, 0, 2, 4, or the all odd wave, 1, 3, 5, 5, 7, 9. 3 digit apart is base number, 0, 3, 6, 3, 6, 9, and it can fall any way it go. It can fall 6, 3, 9. It's still a base number. So with that being said, in the format of an act up, this is the hottest form to bring out a triple. The only one hotter than this would be if 199 was next to each other. That's the only other hottest form. So it's already at the hottest form as an exact act up. And the only one that is hotter than this that you usually don't get, so it's not even worth monitoring, like with due diligence or with the severity. It's not even worth monitoring because it rarely happens. So when it rarely happens, you instantly pick up on it without realizing you're picking up on it, because there it goes. It's right there next to each other, 199, 199. So it's not nothing you have to even keep mentally on your forefront as a heading, because it only happens every blue moon. So when it becomes easier to know that the hottest thing for you is when it just does a simple exact act up. Again, sorry for the live stream if it's shaky. It happens. So again, with that being said, like people like Ken Wright, the person that just joined in or made a comment, understand that group leaders and the group leaders that you follow and think they're doing such a great job benefit from me. So when you understand you're in my inbox telling me about group leaders can do this, group leaders can do that too, they don't go back and tell you personally that they do it because of me, or they know it because of me, they learned it because of me. They'll be telling me this. They won't tell y'all this. So when I get other smart aleck comments in my inbox about other group leaders, I haven't named not one group leader that ain't been affected by me one way, shape, form, or fashion. If you ain't noticed, I've been keeping track. So then if y'all been keeping track, that means that 9 out of the 10 group leaders y'all see on Facebook for lottery all fall under the Lottery Phenom umbrella of being affected by this guy one way, shape, form, or fashion. But you never heard of them being affecting me. I'm using so-and-so stuff. I'm using so-and-so stuff there. I'm using no. But all of them got the whispers about they're using that Lottery Phenom stuff. See what I mean? So then again, call a spade a spade. So that 33rd drawback, 199 in Florida, would be exactly flawless. It would be nothing left to do with that because it's already representing a triple to fall. So again, it's certain digits. Certain digits can make the formality of a triple show up. Now, certain digits can be auto-corrected. Certain digits can be broken down. But why would you if it's already a Hail Mary number, meaning it's ready to go? You know how you say it's like a part tart. As soon as you open it up, it's ready to go. You can throw it in the toaster oven or you can eat it cold. It's already ready to go. So then when you understand that, if you do dissect it, You say, hey, well, what the autocorrection tells me that I can have first autocorrection take the third digit separated by 5, a trip 4 or a trip 9. Okay. Second autocorrection. 199 can be 190 series. Okay, put a pin in that. We got 0 or we got trip 4s. So at the end of the day, you understand where we're going with this. Now, it's already the How to Say a Mary number, so it's ready to go. With that being said, we'll just tag along and carry it right over into the very next draw. 570. So that looks like the 30-second drawback is the CVM location. So what is 570? 570 just became not the digit. It just became a word, a phrase. So why does it work perfectly for, let's say, trip 6? Because of the phrase in itself by the one usage that you can use it for. It's a center vertical match. But where is it the center vertical match? At the 30-second drawback CVM location. So what do I say happens when it usually CVMs at this 30-second draw spot? You can set your clock to it. Well, 32 forward should give you a triple. What triple should it have gave you? What's the third digit? Separated by 5. Oops, it's already showing. The 5 and 0 is already showing. So that cross cancels itself out. You know, cross cancels like division and algebra. All of it play a part. Remember when I told you years ago, lottery is about cancellation, the game of cancellation? So game of cancellation and cancel itself out works perfectly. So when you start hearing stuff make sense to you, you push your ego to the side and say, well, damn, I don't get taught that nowhere else. Knowing that I'm the only one in the school that teaches that, how do you think your teacher feel when they say, well, thank you, you're doing a great job? Or I want to go see about the other math teacher over here, but they don't teach me nothing about what you teach me. How do you think I'm going to feel on campus? I know what your math teacher don't know. So when y'all go get done over there and you come over here, I know what I got to do, what they can't do for you. I got to pick up the pace where they left off at because they don't know. So then again, it ain't ego, it's resume. But let's continue. So what happens at the 30-second drawback CVM location? You can't use the first autocorrection, so use your second. So, with that being said, what's the only thing 5 and 7 could be? Wait, hold that thought. Now here go the group leader listening. What is the only thing, group leader, the 5 and 7 is warranting to be? The only thing it could be is a series. 5, 6, 7. So what's the only missing digit that it could only be? The number 6. It would go 5, 7, 6. Now erase 570 because you already know it's a CVM. Put 576. So what happens when you frequency 999 576? Or did you not realize it's frequency 999 behind every draw? See my point? So when you change the 30-second drawback CVM location, the CVM, and change it into 576, now what's the third thing you get to do in the last thing? Use your first autocorrection because now it doesn't cancel itself out because the third digit separated by 5 now would only be trip 1 or trip 6. Where at? 32 draws forward. Where'd you get trip 6? 32 draws forward. You know what? That beginning to be really, really accurate. I mean, really, really accurate. But it's been like that for the last 50 freaking videos. So then again, excuse me for not popping champagne and turning backflips because I solved lottery. I'm numb to the fact. I've been numb since 2020. 2019, it was a maybe it is, maybe it ain't. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. It's still doing good. But one day they're going to stop it from doing good. Nope. Here come 2020. It says the $270,000 winner under my resume. So it ain't no maybe it is, maybe it ain't, maybe it is. No, it's a certified fact. I'm the number one in lottery now. I'll taught somebody how to hit $300,000. So now you see in 2024, that's why he ain't popping champagne and turning backflips, because he solved it. That's old news. He's just trying to catch the rug up to it being solved. But let's continue. With that being said, the 32 drawback is immaculate, flawless. Remember, you was holding on to 0 and 4. Why are you holding on to 0 and 4 from the 33rd? Because the second order correction, 1 and 9, can be 190. In the first order correction to 199, take the third digit separated by 5, that 9 will give you a 4. So it's only 0 or 4. Either way, it's only going to be a 0 or 4, right? So now, with your 30-second drawback, it's only telling you trip 6. So let's continue. Because, yes, the 33rd started back immaculate with the exact act up, meaning trip ready. I want to say trip trigger, but meaning trip ready. Then the 30-second drawback being the CPM, trip ready, 32 draws for exact, and they gave it to you exact. 31st drawback, well, looks like 744. I don't know. Don't know what to do with 744. What should we do? Well, you can use secondary since you don't know what the primary is. Remember this. Other people doing rink-a-dink grids, they don't get to use any other avenue other than 744. The number they don't understand. People using my system gets to use the by 2 by 3. That shows you trip 4 in your 744. Or they get to use the secondary 841. So that's 2 measurements. 2 measurements. 744 showing you trip 4 in the by 2 by 3. Or the secondary 841. So, since the corporation gave you 744, you might have missed, but they made money off it. They don't miss. They made money off it. Now, you're about to erase 744 because you got a mental note that it was 744, and you're going to replace it with 841. With that being said, what is 841? Base number. So let's repeat. Starting from the 33rd to current draw. 841. 199. Exact act up. The hottest form to bring out a triple in the act up realm. 30-second drawback, CVM location. Gave you a CVM. The other exact reasoning for a triple. Then the 31st drawback gave you base number 841. When you know, you know. 841, that hides the trip 4, but it's not hidden because it's in plain sight when you do the by 2 by 3. So, with that being said, what happens when you autocorrect 841? Because you have to use the first autocorrection, because you can't use your second autocorrection because of why? Because if you use your second autocorrection, you'll just be taking the first 2 digits and turning it into a whole system. It's already the whole system. So the only autocorrection you're left with after erasing 744, as if you didn't get trip 4s in it. Erasing 744 and using 841 only. That was the second move. The third move was taking the 841 into an autocorrection. They made money off of 744. I just printed you new money when you made money off of 841. Take the third digit separated by 5. The only autocorrection you could use at the 31st draw. So if you take the third draw, the third digit, the number 1, separated by 5, what's the end result and where is it supposed to be? The end result would be the number 6, and it's supposed to be 31 draws forward. It is number 6. It is 31 draws forward. It is the number 6 at the 32nd drawback. It is 32 draws forward. So then why wouldn't it be number 6 at the 33rd drawback? Because it was triple 0 through 9. So since it's a stationary triple 0 through 9 because of the Hail Mary number, You know how Hail Mary always goes with these sixes? Every time we say that, the sixes, Hail Mary accompany it. So then you'll understand, damn, are these telltale signs of what they're getting at? But let's continue. So again, hottest Hail Mary number next to 7-Eleven, 199. Then you get CVM at the 30-second drawback, factually. Then you get trip 6 with the autocorrection, factually. For both the 32nd and your 31st. You're only 3 draws in, and all of them is designated for trip 6, with the 199 being the Hail Mary number. So if you only warrant trip 6 of the other 2 draws, then that third draw, that 33rd draw, is just the incubator to make it go supernova quicker. So what I'm saying is, if you got a Hail Mary, then you only got the Hail Mary for whatever the other draws are requesting it to be. Let's continue. This is where it get good, because remember the 33rd drawback, we could have used a 0, or we could have used a 4. It's going to take effect further how that is factual. 30th draw forward, 30th drawback. 30th draw forward is trip 6, 30th drawback 455. So what happened when you use the second autocorrection? Take the first 2 digits separated by, find the missing third digit. So if the first 2 digits is 4 and 5, what's the missing third digit? 4, 5, 6. Series. It's 1 digit apart. Well, isn't 4 and 5 1 digit apart? So was that not the giveaway that this is a 1 digit apart draw? Oh, remember when the 33rd we leaned towards the 0 or the 4 for good measurement? So here, the first autocorrection says, hey, take the third digit separated by 5. It can only be 0. Keep a note of that. The other autocorrection said, take the first 2 digits, find the missing third digit. It can either be a number 6 or a number 3. Now, which one would suit you better? 453 or the 456? Tough question, ain't it? You know why? Because it's equally yoked. You know why it's equally yoked? Because this is the picture-perfect algorithm used. That's why either one will get you right back to the center of what it's trying to get at. Because this algorithm is equally yoked, whether you depend on the left side or the right side. So one side you got 453, hardest series to bring out triple. One side you got 456, autocorrection trip 6. That matches your 31st and your 32nd. So which one would you go with? Let's go with either or, and let's decipher it using both. This time I went with to 456. Oh wow, you just saying that because you know it's going to be the third draw being trip 6. I'm not saying that just for my health. I'm not playing trip 6 in Florida. I'm not playing no triple in Florida. So somebody said, I'm just saying that, oh, you're saying that, I'm just saying that it's going to be right if I choose 456 because the 6 is going to be the trip 6, 30 draws forward. So it'll look factual just so I can make somebody buy a book is what you're saying. Okay. So I made them drop 455 so I can use it to make it make sense with the trip 6 that I also made them drop. Okay, now let's use the other example. Instead of the 456, let's use the 453. Wait, so you mean to tell me the 453 you told us about 50 times in a row, 50 live streams straight, that A is the number 1 hottest series to bring triple. It really is your number 1 hottest series to bring triple. Because when you told us about the 453 being the hottest series, you said make it number 1. Literally, you told us this when you told us about 453. Damn, so you're not making it up for us to buy a book. That is absolutely what you said. So you don't want me using 456 because it'll make it look perfectly right. So I use 453, and now you got to get dealt with of it being the hottest series to bring out triple. But for what triple? Your other 2 draws that said only the trip 6. See how that worked? So remember with the 199 being 0 or 4? With 453 looming, why don't I just use my 33rd as 190? the hottest series to bring out triple. And between the 33 and the 30th, it's only trip 6. 33rd was 190, hottest series. 30th was 453, the number 1 hottest series. And in between both of those poles are the trip 6 only. That's only if you don't let me use 4, 5, 6 to be the exact reasoning. You got trip 6. That will be the 3rd reasoning in a row that's why you got trip 6. So again, see the problem? They know it's too right. Don't want it to be so right. Won't tell the world that it is so right, but want to keep using it to make their money. That's what I get done by group leaders. Let's continue. 29 draws back. Trip 1. Oops, excuse me. Did I jump the gun? 29 draws back. 0, 1, 0. Those 100 numbers. You go back and watch the 2022 videos, you see what I'm talking about. 2021 videos. Those 100 numbers. Now, with that being said, here we go again. Either a left or a right. I can lean towards this way or I can lean towards that way, and it's going to be equally yoked again. You mean to tell me that this guy called up Florida and made them drop 0, 1, 0 just so he could be equally right? In that case, then what he told me in book 1 about the center number representing triple for that draw would equally be right. So he did that just to make them say, well, drop the 1 in the center. So when I go live stream, I can say trip 1, 29 draws back. Autocorrect the trip 1 with the 3rd digit being separated by 5, because that's the only thing you can do to a triple is autocorrect the 3rd digit. There's trip 6, 29 draws forward. Okay, well, you know what? That's just that book 1 stuff. You did that book 1 in 2018. Talk about some new shit. Okay, fine. You hating on it, I'll just talk about some new stuff. Okay, let's just use the 5 grids. 5 grids says that 0, 1, 0 is trip 1. You know what? Even though 5 grids really is trip 1, it'll make you look too right. So how about you try something else? Okay, well, that's true. Well, okay, well, how about we just use the autocorrection? Okay, well, why don't we just take the first 2 digits separated by, find the missing 3rd digit. If we take the first 2 digits, find the missing 3rd digit, we can only get 0, 1, 2 or 0, 1, 9. So we got 0, 1, 9 or 0, 1, 2. What's the difference? See, if we keep 0, 1, 9, that'll be the hottest series to bring out triple. Then that will be an act up with the 190 with the 33rd draw. That means that the 32nd draw had trip 6, the 31st drawback had trip 6, and the 33rd had series, the 30th had series, and the 29th had series. Wow. That looks just like the 5th drawback having series, the 4th drawback having series, and the 2nd drawback having series. Wow. It must have been a schedule. Or they must be hiding it in plain sight. Or the series must be conducive for the triple. And yet I teach that. Let's continue. With that being said, you got 29th drawback 0, 1, 0. With that being said, that would either be 0, 1, 2 or 0, 1, 9. You're going to say, you know what? I can't allow you to use 0, 1, 9 because you're just going to be right. Because the 0, 1, 9 hottest series to bring out triple. And you're going to match it up with the 109, 190 from the 33rd drawback and use it as an act up. Then you're just going to use the 192 at the 3rd drawback as the 3rd act up for the 190. Auto correction. See how that works? But I won't do all that because I'll look too right. Let's make it hard then. I'll use 0, 1, 2. That got nothing to do with nothing. It ain't the hottest series to bring out triples because it's 0, 1, 2. So make it make sense. Okay. Remember this. Going right back to the beginning points. Somebody using a rink-a-dink grid that ain't got nothing to do with nothing lottery phenom, but swear that they right in what they do. Miss, hit once. Miss, but they're right at what they're doing with this rink-a-dink grid that ain't got nothing to do with lottery phenom method. Okay. Here, you get 0, 1, 2 and don't know what to do. Okay. Why don't you put 0, 1, 2 in your grid? When you put 0, 1, 2 in your grid, tell me what the ether triple represent. 29 draws back, ether triple is trip 6. 29 draws forward, trip 6. Wait, but going back to the point of the rink-a-dink grids that these random local jokers is using, when Lotto Phenom is championing them to use his stuff, because it really do work. That means that they can't use the secondary, they can't use the ether trip 6, they can't use the autocorrection, because they swear that their rink-a-dink grid was the only way to do it, because they learned from somebody else who didn't know nothing about it. So again, they don't get to use none of that. So y'all told me I couldn't use 109 because I would just be right by it being the hottest series to bring out triple, the 019 at the 29th drawback. So I used 012 just to find out the 012 was the more of the right number to be using over the 109. But they're equally yoked because that's what V theory is. So you say V theory like it's just about one thing. It's about totality and what it is that we're doing. We're equally yoked on both sides. We're the yin and the yang. You can't have one without the other. We're the same difference. So then with that being said, damn, that do make sense. It's never odd or even. Huh? Where'd he get that from? It's never odd or even. Backwards to forwards, yin and yang. Can't have one without the other. Same difference, never odd or even. Spell it backwards and forwards. Never odd or even spells the same thing backwards or forwards. I'm exiting out. This guy just made too much fucking sense. He's too much. But then you would get it. How else are you going to live carte blanche if you don't start to rethink what it is you've been taught? Lottery could be figured out. Matter of fact, I got the best chances of figuring it out starting now. Damn, definitely starting with a 4-book fucking special of 125. I got the best chances. So then when you understand that, you understand why it exists. Let's continue. It exists with the purpose of you gaining it, is why it exists. 28th drawback. Well, typically we use this to show us what they're getting at. Well, this 28th drawback says 179. That means that it's to a point where you can't use it. You don't know what 179 is. You don't know how to use 179. So is it getting at trip 6? Well, with that being said, how we say, no. It's not getting at trip 6 in the way that you would need to see it. So, by not understanding what 179 is, let's try to use the second diagonal, the secondary diagonal in your by 2 by 3. That will give you 375. 375 in the by 2 by 3 gives you trip 7. So with book 1 method, if you take the central number and make it trip 7, how would you equate that to trip 6? That would only be frequency 999 that would give you trip 6, right? Hear me out. Don't have to do that. Don't have to use that. What if you just rearranged it to 971? Would that not make it more sense to you? If I rearrange it to 971, now I got the auto correction ready. Damn. That sounds like I'm just trying to make it up so it can look right. Okay, hold that note. Book 1. Take the center number, carry it over for the triple representation for the very next draw. So center number represents trip 7, the 28th drawback represents trip 7. So when I say it's a frequency 999 behind every draw, you won't let me say, well, that's trip 6 or trip 8. Because it sounds too much like right. But that's exactly what 999 represents behind those closed doors. Okay, so with book 1, take the center number, carry it over to the very next draw. That represents the triple for the very next draw as well. So trip 7 should be represented at the very next draw. Secondary to that, take the first digit, represent the next triple for the very next draw. That would be trip 1. So if trip 1 autocorrects gives you trip 6, then me changing it over from 971 instead of 179 would still be valid. So then with that being said, if you don't know what the purpose is for each one of these digits where it lay at, then you don't want to know that that would be possible for you to do. Why would you do it? Here's a better reason why you would do it. Because once you rearrange it to 971 instead of 179, you can use second autocorrection. Second autocorrection turns that 971 into 978. Take the first 2 digits, find the missing third digit. Now you have 978 hottest series to bring out triple. Now you have 109019 at the 29th drawback autocorrection. Now you got 453 hottest series to bring out triple at the 30th draw. Now you understand it a lot better. Excuse me. That's 3 series in a row. Must be something important going on. But wait, even though we got 3 series in a row, I can still use my autocorrection for the third draw. What am I saying here? What am I saying here? Listen clearly, y'all. It's already a thing to take it, to turn it around, all right? You don't have the books to understand it's already a thing. When you already have the books to understand that it's a thing, it'll be leading you right into frequency numbers. So if it's already leading you into frequency numbers, then what do you think frequency 999 behind the trip 7s is getting at? It will be equally yoked. So since you want me to take the long way instead of the shortcut way, then I'll take the long way. So if we rearrange it to 971, we just said the second autocorrection would be take the first 2 digits, find the missing third digit. The missing third digit would be 978 only. 978 will be the hottest series to bring out triple. Now you can, only thing left to do is the third format will be using the first autocorrection to your 971. Your first autocorrection is take the third digit separated by 5. That will be trip 6. So what you just found out by rearranging this from 179 to 971, you just made a perfect structure for your hottest series to bring out what triple? Your hottest series to bring out trip 6 that correlates with your third digit. So 971 is a 2-part equation, 97 with the 978 and the 1 with the 6. So with that being said, as it lay 179, it only correlates with 174, 174 being base number. So then when you understand that, if you do 174 it as a base number, you'll still get frequency 999 in the ether. Meaning it ain't about 3 digits, it's only about 2. So if you matching it up with the 1 and 7, you're still using frequency 999. If you matching it up with the central number trip 7, you're still only using frequency 999. That makes it trip 6 or trip 8. So then what would be 178 or what would be 176? You see my point? It still would be equally yoked. But you wouldn't know that because you don't know 176 and you don't know 178. So you wouldn't know that if you didn't know you can take 971 and make it everything I just made it. You wouldn't know that because you wasn't ordered to remove the numbers in which they gave it to you, because you don't have the teacher on campus that will alert you. This is why you can maneuver that draw that you're working. So then you get it. It never was about 179. It never was about 719. It never was about 971. It was about the structure in which you know you can dissect the number so you can understand it better. So you can hit. Because either way it went, I understood what the number is and how to hit it. Because I know how to rearrange it to hit it. It's still going to be equally yoked whether I use 179 or 971. Because whatever I pull from 971, it must be equally yoked, even if it was 179. Then you'll get it. Damn. What does a triple look like backwards to forwards? Anybody? What's a triple? What happens when I rearrange a triple? Forwards to backwards, backwards to forwards. What happens then? It's still the same triple. Ain't that what I just explained to you? It's still the same thing whether I change it from 179 to 971. So by doing this process, don't it give you frequency something when you do that process of changing it from 179 to 971? So if it's a frequency something, isn't it frequency 999 behind every draw? So then that 9 at the third digit is kind of like it's not there because it's already a number 9. So now it's only 1, 7, and then 0. If it's 170, what is they getting at? If it's 178, what is they getting at? If it's 176, what is they getting at? It's still equally yoked. So it is just a filler number. So again, if the filler number leaves you with nothing, you still got trip 6 from the 32nd drawback autocorrection, trip 6 for the 31st autocorrection, and the hottest series to bring out the triple at the 33rd, the 30th, and the 29th. Then you'll get it. Damn, the 28th must still be equating to one of these triples that I think it is. I can make it trip 6 if I turn it around from 179 to 971. But I can make it trip 6 if I understand that my first digit is the carryover, secondary carryover number for my very next draw that represents trip 1. But I do understand it by DNA construction of what the draw means. 179 means trip 1, trip 7s, and trip 9s. So now I know I can rearrange it if I want to because it still represents trip 1s, trip 7s, or trip 9s. Backwards or forwards. So damn. What are they getting at again? What happens if I replace the number 6 with any one of these digits? Is it still equally yoked? Ready? Change the 1 to 679. Change the 7 to 169. Change the 9 to 176, as in that equally yoked. For the understanding that you know of. So then with that being said, y'all, do you see what can't be taught? This stuff can't be taught. It had to be given from you. It couldn't be taught. If somebody else tried to reteach this, they got it from you. So then when you understand that I just said trip 6 in 3-digit format. 679, 169, and 176 is trip 6 in 3s. 3 digits 169, 3 digits 176, 3 digits 169 and 679. 3 different digits in 3s. So then when you get it, damn, this shit is really full circle. It really is. But let's continue. So with that being said, your trip 7s absolutely did show up in the very next draw. See what I mean? While you over there doing a rink-a-dink grid that don't show you nothing outside of, well, just add 1 digit apiece. I start with the number 1. I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How you feeling in the grid like that and think it's effective? Every draw you doing, 6, 7, 8. You got a trip 6 grid talking some 6, 7, 8, 9. How you feeling in your grid like that? So then when you get it, damn, you really is taking up space doing it wrong. Let me give these folks my money. Let me fill in this grid by 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm going to just throw this money away. So then you get it. Somebody's trying to get you to start saving more money, spend the money effectively, putting their foot on your neck about stop doing it wrong, and you still doing it wrong. God damn. After he showed you proof, you still doing it wrong? No, we ain't finna still do it wrong. We ain't that stupid. That's my point. They trying to play me for stupid. Nah, man, I ain't over here doing your work. Nah, man, I ain't doing your work. Nah, I ain't using your work. Nah, I ain't using your work. Why? Because we group leaders and we just not going to be using you. Man, come on. Get out of here. This is the first time you ever seen something be exactly flawless for lottery. You think they not using it, y'all? Y'all better wake up. Let's continue. So your 27th drawback is 571, which is trip 7. So then the number 7 did carry over into trip 7. How do you say trip 7 is series? 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, and 5, 6, 7. That is trip 7s in series. Each series number with the number 7. How do you say base number in series? Hold on, let me hit this AC. I'm getting hot. I gotta rearrange the cameras. So, how do you say base numbers in series? That sounds like it would have to be 147, 703, and what's the other one? 147, 703, and 047. 047, 703, and 147 is how you say the trip 7 in base number. So what is an all odd wave for? Well, how do you say trip 7s in an all odd wave? Any all odd wave with the number 7. Damn, makes perfect fucking sense. Meaning, if I'm not playing for a 1-digit apart, because it shouldn't be doing a 1-digit apart, then what if they do a 2-digit return? 2-digit return. 2-digit return. If it's a 2-digit return, then those 2 digits is 2 digits apart. Let's try 2 digits apart. So what was the only 2 digits apart method that the number 7 could fall under? Definitely not an all even wave now, huh? So the only other 2-digit method would be an all odd wave. But that already checks off the list as how to play, because I carry over the number 7 into a trip 7 format. So the first trip 7 will be dollar on trip 7s, because it shouldn't triple. Then dollar on the base number 703, 741, and 704. Then a dollar on the odd waves with the number 7. 173, 175, so forth, so forth, and so forth. You know what? It's becoming real simple on how to hit numbers, but that's what I've been telling you. These are just crumbs. Crumbs mean it took the previous draw to bring out that next draw that's building for that supernova. So although it's an all odd wave, why does it autocorrect to the trip 6? Yin and yang. Frequency 999 makes it 246. One up, one down will make an odd number go all even. One up, one down makes an odd number go all even. You can't have one without the other. The other is just laying dormant. We're at the ether. So then you get it. Damn. This shit is full circle. But let's continue. What will be the next important draws? Well, you'll say, well, what about that 26th drawback, CVM? Trip ready. Well, what about the 25th drawback? Ain't that also CVM? So that's trip ready. So you just autocorrected the 27th drawback into trip 6, right? Then you say, you know what? What's the only second autocorrection left that the 5 and 7 could be? What's the only second autocorrection that the 5 and 7 could be? Take the 5 and 7, find the missing digit. 5 and 7 can only be series 5, 6, 7. Where should that be at? Up 27 draws forward. But remember when I said the center number is trip 7 and frequency 999 is behind every single draw. So trip 7's in the center would literally be trip 6, 27 draws back, 27 draws forward anyway. Anyway, I'm just showing you the equally yoked part of when you use one thing, you could have used the other. And then you could have used the other because each one of them verifies the other. Oh, damn. Man, I need to be using this on my platform. You know, they are using it on their platform. And when I jump into their platform and say, hey, that's me you talking about in the video right there, they block me. How are you going over the live stream of being Brooklyn Wildcard or Brooklyn King Quad beefing? And then I say, yeah, that's just me right there. And then I'm blocked. Y'all trying to use my stuff that bad? You're trying to gain off of the momentum of me that bad. A person I don't know. Doing a reaction video to my video of me and Brooklyn Wildcard. And I say, yeah, that's me right there. My name Lauder Phenom. Y'all check me out, man. You know, me and him were just going back and forth. But nah, next time I look at the post, I'm blocked. It's my video, but I'm blocked. Show you the power of who I am and what they fear. They're trying to use it for their followers to get over on their followers. So they don't know about Lauder Phenom and get it from me as if it's my stuff. So I'm going to block Lauder Phenom so I can use those methods and make these people order my stuff. You don't know how much my name has put money in their pockets. How much my name and my measurements have put money in their pockets. But let's continue. Just somebody else doing me wrong, group leaders doing me wrong on TikTok that I knew nothing about. That they ain't got no beef with me about, still doing me wrong. Because the thing I invented is so good. 24th drawback, 451 trip trigger. So after the CVM let up, it's always next to something super important, apparently. Because it's a schedule. For it to CVM means something is getting put on schedule. So, with that being said, by understanding these grids that we know of in this new Lotterypedia book, it really does put it on schedule. So, when you find out that it is a schedule, when you dissect it for this many grids. So, what I'm saying is, you that's getting ready to pre-order your Lotterypedia book, you do a by 2 by 3 to find out that it is CVM, center vertical match. You stop, it's done. You got CVM, you ready to go. But doing the newest book grids, including book 5 and then the new Lotterypedia book grids, you notice now, based on what I already know about CVM and how I already know CVM is next to something super important, now I got X amount of more grids, X amount of more grids to use. Where the CVM stopped, it kept going. Just to be verified at a later grid that these new grids is perfectly in sync. So whatever you learned from these new grids is perfectly synced to something that's already synced at CVM. Center row is vertically matched. So then what that tell you is, damn, does it get gooder? You know, even if good is not a word, yes, it get gooder. It gets damn great. That's why I'm going on tour, to see you in your face when I explain to you how immaculate this stuff is. Not just because of the public information immaculate. I'm talking about to its molecule immaculate. Let's continue. So 451 is a trip trigger. Knowing what you know now, what happens when you use the third autocorrection, take the third digit separated by 5? You get trip 6 now, don't you? But wait a minute. That's left or right. Right, I got trip 6, take the third digit separated by 5. Left, I got 4 and 5 being the hottest series to bring out. Y'all don't get it. If you just equate it to the same thing you just equated to for the other series, that gave you 6s or series. Why is this a whole totally different number, but it's still equating to series or 6s? that goes to show you it ain't about the digits. It really is about the interpretation of the digits when they mesh together on why they even exist together in the first place. What I'm saying is, if 451 meant the color yellow, you know it had to take something like green and blue to make yellow, or green and orange to make the yellow. Then you would find out it ain't about the yellow. It's about that green and orange that it took to make yellow. That's all I'm trying to say. It ain't about the 451. It ain't about 571. You know, the 5 and 7, the only series it could be is trip 6. 5, 6, 7. And the autocorrection for that number 1 is trip 6. So then when you get this 451, take the 4 and 5, the only series it could be is either 453 or 456. Plus the first autocorrection, take the third digit separated by 5, give you the number 6. So, and technically it is the 453 hottest series for the number 6. 453 hottest series for the number 6. Because CVM is always next to something super important. Because 451 is the trip trigger that's always morphed into the thing that's so important. That's next to the CVM. That's so important. That's next to every single draw. That is so important. So I can go over every single draw and show you it's so important. That's the whole point of knowing every single draw. That's the whole point of knowing that these folks ain't really got nobody fooled at all. This is the same exact thing going on again and again and again. Once you catch on, you're going to catch all that money that they got going. Because they're relying on the dum-dums that don't know how this stuff goes to lose their money. That's what they rely on. They never relied on somebody cracking the code to it and putting it in a book for you to use. I was supposed to keep it to myself and use it only for myself. Being super selfish. But no, I got to give it to everybody because I care. Plus, I want millions and millions of dollars for a deal. So again, once you understand that, then you understand it's perfectly sound. This guy don't say it just to sound right. Don't give a dang if you order a book or not, because it's your blessing, not mine. So then when you get it, it's all for the understanding that, hey, I just want to gloat that I cracked the code to the lottery. Whether you get a book or not, at least you know I did it. I will go down in history as the one that did it. So then you'll get it. Everything makes perfect sense. I have no issue getting it because it makes perfect sense. Let's continue. I don't want to pick up on the 861 because I'm going to say the center number represents trip 6. I don't want to pick up on the 123 series. I don't want to pick up on the 016 trip trigger. I don't want to pick up on the 336 at the 20th drawback being trip 3 or trip 6 auto correction. I don't want to pick up on the 702 CVM at the 19th drawback that's next to the trip 6 at the 20th drawback. I don't want to pick up on the 702 at the 19th draw that's CVM right next to the 291. That's an act up. That's an act up for trip 6. Yeah, it's the reason why all of it had the number 1 at the 3rd position. If you didn't catch on yet. It's the reason that when you do the autocorrection to the 2 and 9, find the missing 3rd digit, it gives you 296 base number or 295 base number. 295 with the 1 at the 3rd position gives you trip 6. If you catch my drift. So again, why is that so important? Why is that so important? Because when you know how this stuff is orchestrated and you own the patent to how it's orchestrated, you can go over it again and again and again, blindfolded if you need to be. For some reason, I will still remember because I remember in which the way to use it. So if I'm covering up my eyes, I cannot see. The 33rd drawback was 199, exact act up. The 32nd drawback was CVM. I forgot what the exact digits was, but it was CVM. So I do remember that the 31st drawback was auto-correction trip 6. So then I do remember that the 30th drawback was series auto-correction. And then the 29th drawback was series auto-correction. So then with that being said, it was 012 or 091. So with that being said, then the 30th draw had to be 453 off the 455. So then with that being said, that damn, everything that fell had to fall exactly where it fell so it could be right for the supernova that they about to get. How many times do I must tell you, I'm not good at remembering anything. I'm talking about my social security number, I remember that. But my passwords, I could just make the password yesterday. I'm going to need help remembering the password. But for some reason, I just remember 15 digits in a 3-draw span, 3-draw increments, about 15 digits. And on top of that, turning them into CVMs and auto-corrections, that's like 18, 19 digits. The reason I can, because I remember my structure in which I built. So that just helped me be accurately remembering stuff. So again, like I tell you, somebody give me a PIN code like 6 digits, I just put it into my pick 3 formats, and damn, I remember the 6-digit PIN code. But I don't remember it until I put it into the pick 3 format that I know so well. Or 026, all even way, 458. Okay, I know what 026 is, so what's 458? You see my point? So when you understand what 458 is, you say, well, I remember this says 026 and 458 because 458 is my and the 026 is Okay, I got it. I remember. See how easy it is to do it? That makes perfect sense, and it really do. Every day I amaze myself with this stuff. I really freaking do. Let's continue. So with that being said, if the 291 is flawless for trip 6 as an actor at the 18th drawback, that must mean that the 192 is a flawless actor for trip 6 as well. Now rearrange it into 291 instead of 192. For those who said, well, he did just previously say that earlier, that you could rearrange it when he was at the 28th drawback. He said instead of 179, you can make it 971. And you said that's the reason why that's a fact that I can use that right now. You forgot about the point where I said it's already in the book of why I can use that right now. So let's say, what do the book hold to see when they say, well, no, that is the act up. That's the act up in this format. Because it could be backwards to forwards, forwards to backwards. See my point? Let's continue. With that being said, if we leave it as is at the 3rd drawback 192, guess what that's going to be? Well, since you don't know what 192 is, as if you don't know it's an act up. So since you don't know what 192 is, why don't you use the second autocorrection? What's the 1 and 9? What's the only thing 1 and 9 can be? 190. How to series to bring out triple. That would make it an act up at the 33rd drawback. 190. Well, how would that be the same if that's 199, but the 3rd drawback is 192? I thought the 2 represent double. Double the number next to it. So 192 really is 199. Book 1. So then you get it. Damn, that guy had it all sealed and deal, because it could have been 192, it could have been 195, it could have been 190, 02 or 5. Book 1. Represent this double next to the number that's next to it. So if it's 190, 195, or 192, it's still 199. Or 191. It has to double. So if it's 191, why do you already know what it is? Because I give it to you for free without having to order a book. How does Hail Mary number to bring out triple? But what if it's 199? Next to the hottest Hail Mary number to bring out triple. So then you get it. It's just inverted is what I'm saying. So then you'll get it. Damn. Because I know about each specific digit and what it could do. Because I know about each specific digit in the digit or part that it is. Because I know that each single digit can be forwards or backwards. Because I know that each single digit could be autocorrected. Because I know that each single digit has a frequency 999 behind it. Because I know about all this, they cannot pull a fast one. It's what it's for. So then you'll get it. I'm getting more educated and more educated and more educated on how to hit this number on a regular, consistent basis. But let's continue. So, starting back with that, 18th drawback 291 being an act up. The exact act up wouldn't be necessary. Why? Because it's already a specific type of act up, so it wouldn't be necessary. What I mean by that, the exact act up make it double potent, and the way it isn't an act up as it lay already makes it double potent as an act up. So again, let's continue. So it's no reason why 338 is right next to the 18th drawback 291. 338 is CVM. Make sense? So then with that being said, then it's no secret why 556 just suddenly hit the board out of nowhere. Why is this ugly number 556 hitting the board next to CVM? Now you freaking know. Whether you knew anything about my unorthodox doubles of the 556, now you know something about, third digit represent autocorrection. Autocorrect the third digit is either going to be trip 1 or trip 6. What draw is that? 16 draw back, 16 draw forward. Damn, so now why did they drop 556? Because they can only give you trip 6 in so many different ways. So that means that 556 didn't drop there by accident. No matter how ugly the number is. I told you, it got to build into the supernova. It got to build into it. But you're going to remember from 2019, I've been said every draw is important. I've been said all 32 draws, 30 draws is building into a triple. But you wouldn't believe me because I was fresh on the scene talking about I'm the number one in the lottery. You just wouldn't have believed me. But let's continue. So with that being said, 684 gives you trip 8s. 8s and 6 stay together. 14th draw back, 863, frequency 999, 1 up and 1 down. 684 is 863, CVM, with the number 6 in the center. So CVM is always next to something super important. Now, what do you know? 985, 13th draw back, right next to the 863 CVM. Well, we know it ain't going to be 8 and 3 of the 863. So what's in the center? Oh, shoot. That is trip 6. Why do you think all these 6s are showing? Ain't that 3 times in a row doomed to triple? Oops. That is 3 times in a row doomed to triple. The 16th drawback, 556. That's the first number 6. 15th drawback, 684. That's the second number 6. And the 14th drawback, 863. That's the third number 6. That's a 3 times in a row doomed to triple for the number 6. Hidden in plain sight. It's only hidden because you don't have the spectacles to understand that you can read it easily. The whole point is the know-how. If I got the know-how, I can get to that money. I got the know-how. Now it's up to me. Let's continue. 13th drawback 985. Trip trigger. That runs you right back into 823 CVM. So it keeps running you into CVM. It keeps running you right into CVM. So it's running you right into CVM 823 because it's right next to something super important. Well, you're going to say, well, it ain't the 985 because we just went over the 985 being next to something super important, 863. That represented trip 6. So then it's the 823 12th drawback must be right next to something super important on the other side. 366. Saying that to say that, what in the hell make you think they dropped 366 by accident? By random. If I don't do anything else, I put the bed that you call lottery random. That is put to bed long time ago. So they didn't drop 366 by random, huh? So what happens when you do your by 2 by 3 to 366? You get trip 6 to show up, huh? Okay. I like that. So since trip 6 showed up at your 11th draw bag, then what's going on? They must be getting that trip 6 because all of these 6s keep showing. If the 6s didn't show, the 1 showed up at the 3rd digit. If the 1 showed up at the 3rd digit, that must be an autocorrected for trip 6. So damn, trip 1, the 1 show up for autocorrection trip 6. Trip 6 shows up as is in a 3-digit doom to triple. I can't decide whether I want to play trip 1s or trip 6. Damn, how hard is it to put $10 on 1s and $10 on 6s? Not hard at all. Let's fast forward. Very next draw would be 153 at the 10th draw back. That would be trip 5. You erase 153, put trip 5, frequency 999 puts you right at trip 6 or trip 4. So that would be 4, 5, and 6 by way of frequency 999. Let's continue. With that being said, you get to the 9th draw, the exact act up. So now, it just became full circle right there. But it's less than 33 draws, but it became full circle. Anything outside of 199 is the added on benefit, so to speak, because it just became full circle. With that being said, let's see what happens after 199. Could they be telling us what they getting at? 8th draw back, 085 CVM. Could be CVM for trip 8s, but I kept getting a whole lot of 6s. But you know what? 6 does stay with the number 8. But let's continue. CVM fell, so it must fail next to something super important. Ah, yes. 936. Hey, Florida, can you make sure 936 falls next to 085? Because it's going to be super important because it's a CVM. How many CVMs got to hit your state before you give us a triple? Funny. Let's continue. So 936 at the 7th draw back. You know what? You good. Because you know I'm going to say you can't use the second autocorrection because it's already base number. So if you're looking for the first 2 digits to find the missing 3rd digit, the only missing 3rd digit it could be is the number 6, 936. So if you say, well, damn, the only thing you could do is an autocorrection for the 3rd digit separated by 5. What's the 3rd digit separated by 5? Because it's right next to the CVM. The CVM is always next to something super important. So what it's next to is trip 1 or trip 6 by way of the only autocorrection. Who invented an autocorrection other than me? So what I'm saying is I could talk shit in the biggest shit you ever heard just because of the autocorrection is always flawless. For lottery, that's supposed to be random. So if an autocorrection should not be in existence and I put it into existence and it works flawlessly, why they take them so hard to say, man, you the number 1 in the lottery, you the real deal. We learned so much from you all across the board. You, without doubt, nobody doubts you. They ego. So when your ego is in the way of something that you know is logically right, that goes to show you that this stuff really didn't supposed to exist. Because I don't care if Einstein showed me the electricity. I don't care if Mark Zuckerberg showed me the electricity. I'm going to still call it electricity and be, damn, I'm glad I got some electricity. You did that with that electricity stuff. Nah, when it comes to lottery, you can't be the one that decided it and deciphered it. We ain't going to agree with you. We ain't going to like you for it. Damn, that's fucked up. But that's what I'm always saying. How you hate the person that decoded it for you? And it works perfectly for you. Because I ain't want nobody to do it. I ain't want it to be true. Dang. Let's continue. 6 drawback 772. See, hey Florida, why are y'all getting so many CVMs? CVM is always next to something super important. So then what is 654? So how do you say trip 6 in series format? 756, 678, 654. Any series connected to the number 6 is how you say that number 6 in series form. How you say number 6, trip 6 in base number format. 603, 692, 693. Oops, you just got the 936. Then you got CVM, just to give you 654. Then you got CVM, just to give you another representation of sixes. Then you got CVM, just to give you another representation of sixes. Then you got CVM, just to give you another representation of sixes. So when it wasn't CVM, it was only representation of sixes. Hidden in plain sight. Yeah, I did that. I know. Let's continue. So you got 201 series. Funny, there's no CVM next to this series. There was a CVM next to the 654. So since there's no CVM next to this 201, oh wow, what do we have? Why is the number 1 always at the third digit for some reason? So many ones is at the third digit. So many ones is at the third digit. So many CVMs. So many other representations of trip 6 that's next to the CVM, that's next to the number 1 at the third position. Trip 6. All of this is trip 6. All of it. Have you ever seen so many different examples of trip 6? No. That's the whole point. I already know you never seen so many different examples of trip 6. So I already know it is the best thing you ever saw. So I'm only acting accordingly. Let's continue. So 201, well, since it's already series, funny, we can't use the second autocorrection. So why is the autocorrection is always autocorrecting just right? So that means that, goddamn, if I take the third digit separated by 5, somebody help me out. What's 1 separated by 5? That would be a number 6. Where? What breath are you working on? You on the 4th draw back. So 4 draws forward will make it go supernova. What's supposed to go supernova? The trip 6. Or trip 1. Let's continue. 192 we just went over already for you, so let's continue. Damn, 876. Another series. Series on top of series on top of series. Where else did that happen at? The back 5 draws from the 33rd to the 29th. Series. Hey, Floyd, why you got so many CVMs and so many series and so many trip 6 representations for the last 33 draws? So you're going to say, well, damn, everything that is something failed that was something towards the number 6. So what's 876? That sounds like a series with the number 6. Man, you just saying that doesn't sound right. So what's the third digit separated by 5? Trip 6 or trip 1? Where is that at? The very draw right before the triple. But man, you said something about frequency 999 behind every draw, man. I took that center number and took it over to the very next draw. And I did the series, the frequency 999 to that number 7 in the center. So that number 7 is the trip 7 that fell at the very next draw. And then you use frequency 999. You play the trip 7, trip 6, and then trip 8. Because 6 stays with 8. That's the only way they stay together, because they are a mate to a series. 7 stays with 9. Remember me saying that? And I go revert back to the 2019 video when I told you 7 stays with 9. Why? Because it's a 2-part series. So why does 6 stay with 8? Because it's a 2-part series. So then when you understand everything that's going on, it's always about the missing ether number. 2 digits apart is about a missing ether number. So then when you get it, if you're not equating for the ether number, then you're missing the big shebang. Or should we say the big bang? So then when you get it, you can't have one without the other. For it to be a shebang, it has to be a bang. So a Mr. and a Mrs. formulates a, you got it, immaculate conception. So then when you understand it, it's all you're doing is unraveling the thing that already represents the immaculate conception. All 32 draws until you get to the supernova. No matter what the supernova is, all previous 32 draws represent the immaculate conception for the supernova. So why do I do 150 live streams and be right 150 times? Because I solved it. I solved it. So when you're talking about a regular number with a regular number, how do I hit? I just solved it for you with book 1 and book 2. So then when you understand everything it's just a triple relation. Every draw you see is a triple relation. Every draw you see is a quad relation. Every draw you see is a quint relation. pick 5 quit. So then when you understand this, thank God for the person that decoded all this stuff so all this stuff can be easily won. That's the whole purpose of it. Not to brag and be braggadocious, really to make it known that it could be easily won. It just comes with a starter's fee. All right? So yes, that's an immaculate triple again. No one in lottery. Inbox me now to order your books. One love, everybody.